We'll call the December 18th, 2025 Diversion Board Authority to order. And the first item will be roll call of the members.
Mayor Carlson. Mayor Carlson. Mayor Dardis.
Here.
Mayor Mahoney. Mr. Breitling. Mr. Hendrickson.
Here.
Mr. Pepcorn.
Here.
Mr. Ebinger.
Here.
Ms. Kolpak. Here. Mr. Campbell.
Here.
Mr. Capitan.
Here.
Mr. Grimberg.
Here.
Mr. Steen.
Here.
Ms. Morgan. Quorum is present.
We'll do a double check on Mayor Carlson.
Mayor Carlson.
I presume she'll be calling in. She called me about a half hour ago, said she would be remote, so. Thank you, Don. Next, we look for a motion to approve the minutes from November 20th.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Aye.
Next, look for a motion to approve the order of the agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second? Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries. Item 4, consent agenda. Approve the following. I look for a motion to approve the consent agenda on items 4A through 4F.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. Don, please take the roll.
Mayor Carlson. Mayor Dardis.
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney.
Aye.
Mr. Hendrickson.
Yes.
Mr. Pepcorn.
Aye.
Mr. Ebinger.
Aye.
Ms. Kolpak.
Aye.
Mr. Campbell.
Yes.
Mr. Capitan.
Aye.
Mr. Grimberg.
Aye.
And Mr. Steen.
Yes.
That is everyone.
Whoever is typing on their keyboard remote, please mute yourself. Thank you. Probably sending one of us an email. Item 5 under the regular agenda, Executive Director update. Jason?
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, board members. A short update. First, last week had the opportunity to get out to Bismarck for the Water Topics Overview Committee, and as well as the State Water Conference that occurs every year. Really gave a good update to the Water Topics Overview Committee. For those of you that aren't familiar with that, it's a blend of both House and Senate members, and so had a lot of great questions. Gave them a very full and detailed update. I had about 30 minutes that I was originally slotted for, but between all their questions, we went closer to 45, almost 50 minutes. So they were very pleased, had a lot of positive feedback and some discussions afterwards. And I think, from their standpoint, they were very surprised at the amount of work that's been completed, how far along we are in the construction, and how close we are to the end of construction as we move into 2026. So that's my update. Open to any questions that you may have on the Water Topics Overview. If not, before I get into the 2025 video, I want to thank the board. It's been a really positive year. We've made a lot of big construction milestones in getting a number of bridges open, the work that's happened on the Maple River Aqueduct structure. And so I want to thank all of you for the support that you've given me over this last year, and look forward to jumping into 2026. With that, we'll kick off the end of your video.
2025 became a landmark year for the Fargo-Moorhead Area Diversion Project. Every component of this project has now been worked on, and numerous elements have been completed. We saw 13 bridges open to traffic this year, allowing road and rail traffic to travel over the stormwater diversion channel. We made significant progress on the 2 aqueducts, which are unlike anything else in the world. We also witnessed the Red River as it was rerouted to flow through the Red River control structure. That involved placing 72,000 cubic yards of concrete and excavating 1.8 million cubic yards of material. Together, that's enough to fill the U.S. Capitol Rotunda about 40 times.
Our developer, through a public-private partnership, the Red River Valley Alliance, along with its construction arm, ASN Constructors, made strides on the 19 road and rail crossings over the stormwater diversion channel. 2 BNSF crossings and 13 road crossings are now open, with the remaining scheduled to be completed next year. Work on the 30-mile stormwater diversion channel continued 24/7 this year, with 38.1 million cubic yards of the necessary 45 million now excavated. The Maple River and Shine River aqueducts also came closer to completion. At the Maple River site, heating elements were installed, and it's becoming easier to see how the aqueducts will work to route the rivers over the channel. New in 2025, work began on the Authority Administration Building, which will house the MFDA staff and provide oversight of project operations and all maintenance activities for years to come. All in all, it's been a productive year that's moved us significantly closer to the finish line. Next year will be the last major construction push, and we will begin to shift completed components to O&M, the operations and maintenance stage, during which they will be kept ready for use.
One of our more significant milestones for federal work in 2025 was rerouting the Red River to flow through the new gated structure. This control structure will be used to regulate flows around the Fargo-Moorhead metro area during a flood event. The river rerouting represented years of collaboration between designers, stakeholders, and natural resource agencies to make permanent flood control a reality. The Red River structure is now more than 90% complete and is on schedule to be done next year. Immense progress has also been made on the 22 miles of southern embankment, which will help store floodwaters before they're released at a metered rate into the 30-mile stormwater diversion channel. During the past year, the Corps and its federal contractors invested an incredible 250,000 work hours, placed more than 16,000 cubic yards of concrete, and moved more than 4.1 million cubic yards of soil. That's enough material to fill the Fargo Dome nearly twice. That work led to the completion of more than 17 miles of the embankment this year. In addition to that, our team successfully completed the ring levee around the communities of Oxbow, Hickson, and Baki to provide flood risk management for these 3 communities. Looking ahead, next year we will finish the southern embankment and finalize the remaining work on the 3 control structures, bringing us even closer to our shared goal of permanent flood protection for this region.
2025 was a busy year for our lands and compliance team. We acquired more than 1,300 acres of flowage easements while closing out more than 25 property mitigation projects. We also sold nearly 600 acres of excess lands. We maintained our focus on environmental compliance efforts as well. U.S. Army Corps of Engineers contractors continue to make great strides on forest mitigation sites through planting and vegetative maintenance activities. Water quality and velocity studies, in partnership with the U.S. Geological Survey, continued throughout the project area, including the Drayton Dam Rock Arch Rapids. We also continued to monitor existing wetland mitigation sites as we prepare for successional vegetative management efforts in 2026. We continue to work with our state agency partners to develop methodologies and metrics to track successful fish passage through critical components once the project is completed.
As each component is fully built, it shifted into an operations and maintenance mode. While not everything has been completed, the efforts of the men and women who have worked tirelessly on this project have already increased the community's level of protection against flooding. It's impressive work on a landmark piece of infrastructure, one that Senator Hoeven has described as truly a bi-state regional project that will protect this dynamic, innovative, growing, and exciting region. Altogether, construction on FM area diversion is about 80% done. putting us on track for permanent reliable protection by the spring of 2027.
Thank you, and thank you, Amy, for a well-done video. Next, we'll have Mr. Shockley, General Counsel update.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the Diversion Authority Board. I have a presentation regarding items 6A and 6B. Hopefully, and I'm not going to read every word, and I'm going to try to be concise, as some of this is very much a refresher from the statement of principles that was agreed to earlier this year. Just as an overview, the board may recall back in July of this year, we had approved a statement of principles for the settlement and resolution of claims with the P3 developer. Because of the complexity of a P3 transaction, we had to have a more innovative settlement agreement than you would normally see in a traditional construction matter. The statement of principle contained some actions that each of the parties had to take, which included amending the project agreement and amending the D&C contract, and then securing lenders' approval for those two documents. That approval occurred in November, and as part of that, the parties then have to finalize the process of the statement of principles by approving the definitive settlement agreement, the amended and restated project agreement, and we had a mathematical cleanup in the amended and restated ICE advance agreement. You'll remember that's the facility, that's a revolving facility that allows them to submit some pay units early as long as they meet different conditions of completion. Just a really high-level recap of the statement of principles. Nothing is changing with this. This is just finalizing the process that all the parties have went through. It was a $57 million settlement. It was a release, mutual release of all known and foreseeable claims as of the date of the settlement, and that was July 3rd of 2026 or 25. It was a structured payment mechanism for the $57 million. The authority made the initial payment within 30 days of the $10 million. And then there was also another $10 million payment made when all of the NCRs were cleaned up. The remaining number of payments are to be made as certain milestones are reached, such as opening of all the bridges, opening up of all the rail corridors, the aqueducts, etc. We also created the risk-sharing mechanism, and we created several teams, project-level teams that have been meeting and I think have been successfully resolving a lot of the issues before they become conflicts. Financial and timeline, we went over the $10 million that's been paid for both the NCR correction and the settlement date, the risk-sharing mechanism, the ICE advanced payment document and agreement. Briefly, we had originally contemplated both in the statement of principles and as a matter of the contract was that it was going to be a $90 million facility. Due to a mathematical calculation issue and the way the technical language of the agreement read, they were only able to access 86.4. So all the amended and restated ICE advanced agreement does is correct that mathematical issue to raise it to the $90 million. Just going over the history of how we got to today. On July 3rd, we had reached the statement of principles that was executed and approved by this board. On July 14th, the parties had jointly submitted to the Technical Dispute Review Board a letter jointly withdrawing all of the claims before the Technical Dispute Review Board. On November 14th, the developer had received approval from all of the lenders to consent to the amended and restated project agreement and DNC agreement. And then the intent is that it would be presented to the board today, the definitive settlement agreement for approval, and then are tentatively planning on approval of the agreement by the parties tomorrow, or maybe in a couple days after all the signature pages are received from the various parties. Just a very high-level recap, and the board's already seen this. We're resolving all of the claims as of July 3rd. This is just making permanent what was in the statement of principles regarding the actions the parties have taken. Just recapping, as part of the statement of principles, we had agreed to a rebaseline schedule. That is currently the schedule that it will be operating under. The schedule is not changing. We're maintaining the same substantial completion date, which is October of 2026. You'll recall that as part of the statement of principles, we agreed that if there were a late claim that was due to BNSF or related railroad, that would have 120 credit days under the project agreement. Really, damages are more associated with delays than actual costs, because on a P3 project agreement, each day of delay has a lot of value. So we received 120 credit days. And then we also have 60 flex credit days. By adopting the amended and restated project agreement, it finalizes the adoption of the schedule for the project, which is referred to as PBS 3R2. And just recapping briefly, as we touched upon in July, no change to what the statement of principles had indicated. We resolved all of the claims related to ECR. And just a refresher, in addition to all of those resolution of all of those claims, the developer is required to apply a substance called text coat to all of those structures that did not have epoxy-coated rebar located within them. That is per the manufacturer's specifications. They have to make one treatment before substantial completion, and then additional treatments per the manufacturer's specifications, including one prior to handback in 30 years. Just a brief overview of the risk-sharing mechanism. We set aside $10 million in a risk-sharing fund that if there are future claims and they were found to be valid, the funds would first be paid out of the risk-sharing mechanism to reduce that. If there's no claims that are made by the parties, it's an incentive for the developer to reduce those types of claims and to focus on construction rather than management of claims and other issues. Teams and partnering. I'm proud to say that our teams have been working very well together regarding the implementation of the term of the partnering and the kind of new governance that we'd come up with in the statement of principles. We have a principles team. We meet every couple of weeks to go over major issues in the project, try to head them off before they become conflict. There's an interim completion team. They coordinate on milestone completion conditions and eligibility for ICE advance payments, kind of trying to diffuse any potential conflicts and speed up and smooth out the process. Have a substantial team or completion team. They oversee kind of the final project delivery, what are items that are needed on the punch list, what are items needed to complete substantial completion. And then there's more partnering opportunities through the SOP. And all of those teams have been implemented. They've been meeting on a regular basis, and it seems like it's working well. Just a recap of the ICE Advanced Payment Agreement. We created the ICE Advanced Payment Fund primarily for works that would be completed in the winter. Under the new schedule, a lot of the pay units are being compressed into the winter months, in which you can't always complete your inspections that are required to get ICE, some of the other things, in order to be eligible to get a pay unit. And recall that each of the payments that are associated with the project are tied to a specific pay unit. So you could have a bridge, you could have a reach of the channel, all tied to the pay unit. They're entitled to receive 80% of that pay unit. In order to be a pay unit that's eligible for it, it requires a substantial completion of the work actually be completed. They have to provide evidence of no liens, lien waivers, that all the work is completed. There are no claims associated with that. If there's been third-party inspection certification is required, and they also can't have any major defects in that to be a qualifying unit. To get into a pay unit into the ICE advanced pay unit structure has to meet all those criteria. They get paid 80% of the pay unit. So for example, if it were $1 million, they could only receive $800,000. Then when it's completed in the ICE advanced process, they get the other remaining 20%. There's a cap of $90 million total that they can get out of the facility at any one time. And so in light of it's over $1 billion of construction, you're talking the payment facility is obviously a lot of money, but as a percentage, it's actually pretty low risk for the authority, and it helps the developer with some cash flow issues. And this process seems like it's been working very well. The amendment to the ICE Advance Agreement is just changing the calculation method so that they actually can get 90 million instead of 86.4 million. Then you'll recall under the settlement agreement, there was a resolution of all the non-compliance points, that there was 110 that were assessed, and then they were resolved by the developer. I'd previously went over the milestones and that recap of the events since the execution of the statement of principles. And then what does this do? What action is different than what under the SOP? So it is reinstating all of the conditions that were in the statement of principles. It just makes it final. Portions, the majority of the statement of principles was final, but this makes everything final, including this changes to the project agreement and the DNC contract, makes all of those changes enforceable. It confirms the implementation agreements. It supersedes any prior agreements that were under the SOP. It reaffirms all the payment structures that are already in place, carries forward all the mechanisms that we created under the SOP, and then it adopts the changes to the project agreement and the technical requirements, and it authorizes ASN and RVA to go ahead and execute the DNC contract. And I have lots of information if you want. I don't want to take up the entire meeting. And so our intended schedule, execution schedule is today that the board would approve the agreement and the resolutions. Either tomorrow or someday in the next couple of weeks, we would get all the signatures for the definitive settlement agreement and the amended and restated project agreement along with the DNC contract, and we would have a formal closing on that. Happy to answer any questions. I really don't want to read verbatim the whole presentation, but I have lots of information if the board would like.
Questions for John? If there are no questions, would entertain a motion.
I'll move for approval. Can we do all three at once, Mr. Chair? Or is it just the first one here?
Let's take them one at a time, I
Individual?
guess.
So I move for approval of resolution for the amendment and restated ICE advance agreement.
Moved and seconded, discussion? Everyone online understand the motion, and ask one more time, any questions for anyone online? Hearing none, we'll take the roll on item 6A.
Mayor Carlson? Mayor Doherty?
Yes.
Member Mahoney?
Aye.
Mr. Hendrickson?
Yes.
Mr. Pamplin?
Aye.
Mr. Ebinger?
Aye.
Ms. Kolpak?
Aye.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Capitan?
Yes.
Mr. Grinberg?
Aye.
And Mr. Steen?
Yes.
That is everyone.
And just double check, you did get Mayor Carlson's vote?
I did. Thank
Okay, thank you. 6B?
So move approval, 6B.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? And then we'll take the roll on 6B.
Mayor Carlson,
Yes.
Mayor Dardis,
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney, Mr. Hendrickson,
Yes.
Mr. Pepline,
Aye.
Mr. Ebinger,
Aye.
Ms. Kolpak,
Aye.
Mr. Campbell,
Yes.
Mr. Capitan,
Aye.
Mr. Grimberg,
Aye.
and Mr. Steen.
Yes.
That's everyone.
Back to you, John.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If it's okay, I had one other item, more of an informational opportunity for the board to ask questions. As part of the cash plan that the board will be considering or has previously considered, the intent is through the authority to issue a subordinated sales tax bond in 2026. It would be a temporary subordinated sales tax bond, maybe to set the table of why we're issuing a temporary sales tax bond. You'll recall at the beginning of this year, the chair had set out 4 legs of the stool for the final portions of the financial portions of the project. Just briefly, those included the remaining federal funds being returned to the authority pursuant to the PPA agreement, discussions regarding Minnesota funding, discussions regarding sales tax allocations, and then finally, and it's escaping me, the 4th leg, Mr. Chair.
Bank of North Dakota.
Bank of North Dakota for the 2% loan. Many of those items are taking a little bit longer to come to maturity, specifically the Bank of North Dakota loan, along with the federal funding component. The subordinated sales tax bond was contemplated in the cash budget. You'll note in the cash budget as approved by or recommended to be approved by the Finance Committee yesterday was about $1 billion for a cash budget next year. Just for cash flow, the subordinated sales tax bond gives the authority the ability to have some cash flow while those other items of the 4 legs of the stool are being completed. The subordinated sales tax bond at a high level is approximately going to be $220 million. The intent is that as you get those other funding sources in, there'll be what are called call mechanisms within that bond issue. So that means that you can prepay portions of it without penalty. So for example, if you receive additional funds from the federal government, we can call a portion of the bond and prepay it and save the authority some interest. Or alternatively, because it's a temporary bond, if you need to temporarily use that cash for cash flow matters for paying milestone payments or some other payment, it affords the authority the ability to do that. Currently, the environment for the subordinated sales tax bond for a temporary basis, there is not much of a difference in interest between a 3-year term and a 5-year term. So we're currently recommending going with a 5-year term, just to give the board some maximum flexibility because we don't quite know when all 4 legs of the stool will be resolved. We also don't know when some of the final elements of the project will be completed, such as the Cheyenne River Mitigation Project and a couple of other items. And so it just gives the board some additional ability to build some of its finances in. So apparently that's me. I'm happy to answer.
Any questions? I didn't know if you were finished there or you had to take the call.
No.
Any questions? Just as a heads up, what's coming next year. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Project updates, 7A, Terry.
Good afternoon, Chair Grinberg and board members. This is Terry Williams providing the Corps update for the month of December. Don't have a whole lot to report this month as most of our construction is shut down for winter, so I'll just hit some of the high points. Red River structure, they closed the year at 93% complete. Their critical path, of course, is getting the embankment work done next year, so I anticipate them getting started as soon as they can in the spring. Going down to OHB, that ring levy reach was accepted for December, and turnover to sponsors for O&M is pending. Reach 1B, they closed out at 65% complete, and the County Road 1617 area was fully open prior to weather taking a turn for the worse. SE2B, as shown in the drone footage, 87% complete, finishing strong. The County Road 16 up and over, the crossing is done, and that was turned over to the sponsors for operation and maintenance yesterday. Down to Reach 4, they closed out at 27%, Reach 3, 40%, Reach 5, 37% complete. 180th will indeed be closed for the winter, and they will have to get that opened up pretty quick next spring so that they can finish that project. Down to forest mitigation number 3, that solicitation is pending. We might be able to get that out on the street for bids tomorrow if we can wrap up that final paperwork on that one. With that, my update is over unless there's any questions.
Questions for Terry? Thank you. And if you drop before we're completed here with the full agenda, have a Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays.
Chris?
Thank you, Chair Grimberg, members of the board. Quick update. Like Terry mentioned, things are winding down a little bit out in the field. Still some activities going on. A couple of highlights. Interstates are all open. All the ramps are open. Everything's reconnected. So they're doing some cleanup work on the edges, putting some fencing up and doing some of the closeout work there. But happy to see that all put back together. This week also 38th Street was opened for traffic, and there's one more structure coming, County Road 22. They're doing some minor repairs, and then that will be open this fall as well. Most of the work through the winter months here will be in removing channel plugs, and by that I mean where there was a bypass for a road or maybe an existing drainage that went across the channel that had been blocking the channel, and they excavated on both sides. They'll be opening those up. Generally reaches 3 through 6 means from I-29 down through the Maple Aqueduct structure. So they're focused now in that area. Again, as they continue to get work done, they'll continue excavation further south as well. BNSF KO has, as we noted last month, I think that didn't get open before winter. Happy to report that both BNSF and ASN are continuing to work on that. They're hoping to get that open over the winter. Obviously, that will be somewhat weather dependent, but everybody's out there working now. They're working on pouring the last segment of deck, and BN crews have been on site, maybe not today, but they've been on site the last couple of weeks working on laying tracks. So with that, I'd stand for any questions on the construction update.
Questions for Chris? Next.
Maybe I'll do the safety update quick, and I think I'm going to hit this on the P3 update. It's probably a good update for that. But on the safety side, another good month. The couple recorded events this month were a couple of minor first aid items that they did have some medical treatment, so they hit the recorded mark. But again, a good safety month, and again, they're adjusting into cold weather work, so I know that's been a focus of their safety briefs, and the safety reports that we get have been really focused on making sure we're staying safe when we're out in the harsher elements, especially when you think about that today. So with that, I stand for any questions on the safety update.
Questions? Proceed.
All right, so for the P3 update, Paul and I picked on looking at the bridges, and just kind of a nice to see our map filling in with bright blue. Lots of bridges open here in the last month, so maybe just to highlight a couple of the ones like on County Road 81 and County Road 1617, you'll see the gray box still on the railings and approaches. That's just to indicate that they opened those roads without the permanent pavement on, so those were open with some gravel still there, so we just noted that so that there will be some work next spring, but those roads are open to traffic and carrying traffic today. Again, the interstates are all open. 38th Street opened. Again, County Road 22, there was a couple of minor repairs they had to do before we could open that to traffic. They're working on that now, anticipating that'll open here. Again, weather dependent, hopefully sometime in January, and then they'll continue working on the plug removal there. County Road 6, County Road 14, and 52nd Avenue, those will remain closed for the winter, and their plan is to open those and get those going as soon as we can next spring. So again, all of that update is in the P3 report every month, but just wanted to highlight the bridge work since that was a heavy focus here and a lot of activity in the last couple months. So with that, stand for any questions on the P3 report as well.
Questions?
All right, ready for the drone.
Levee embankment and roadway paving activities to a close for the 2025 construction season. But winter weather means frozen ground and minimal runoff as work continues at select project sites across the FM area diversion. I'm Tom Fuchs, Senior Construction Manager for the Metro Flood Diversion Authority with this month's highlights. At I-29, north and west of Harwood, North Dakota, all 4 interstate lanes are now open to traffic, and ASN Constructors is excavating the diversion channel where the bypass lanes once were. Nearby, crews are now removing the County Road 81 bypass and BNSF Hillsboro shoe fly. Stormwater diversion channel excavation will soon follow, establishing functional drainage connections for completed channel segments both upstream and downstream of this location. A couple of miles away, at the Rush River Inlet, ASN Constructors is working on the remaining excavation, bedding, and riprap placement at the inlet's upstream end. This marks the start of work necessary to permanently divert the Rush River into the new inlet to the stormwater diversion channel. Crews are simultaneously excavating the diversion channel alignment where the existing Rush River crosses the diversion channel's footprint. Once excavation is completed, this will establish another functional drainage connection for completed channel segments. As we move our view to the Cheyenne River Aqueduct, we see how concrete blankets and heaters have allowed ASN Constructors to continue concrete placement despite the cold and snow. ASN Constructors has placed more concrete for the flume's elevated slab and portions of the north and south flume walls. They also placed concrete for additional segments of the bypass conduits which flank the flume on each side. Piling and concrete work have continued at the structure's adjacent wing walls and the spillway as well. This month, our drone view captures the first segment of the spillway's concrete base construction underway. A few miles east, at the Authority Administration Building, we can see structural steel work is wrapping up at the main building and is now ongoing at the maintenance building. At the main building, crews are now framing the exterior walls. Also at this site, and just prior to freeze-up, crews placed earth and fill in between the building pad and the southern embankment's Reach SE2B. Speaking of Reach SE2B, in the last month, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers contractor R.J. Zavarol and Sons completed placing the remainder of clay embankment and topsoil respreading across the 4.5-mile stretch. In preparation for next year, crews also removed a plug or earthen obstruction between the Borrow Ditch and the Wild Rice River, establishing a permanent connection at the Borrow Ditch's downstream end. Nearby at the Red River structure, which is now more than 90% complete, Ames Construction wrapped up the construction season by placing the embankment that crosses the abandoned portions of the Red River. The site is also excavating the remaining engineered channel connections and placing riprap at the project's low-flow channel where it meets the Red River. Catch more construction updates throughout the month by following the project on social media.
Next up, Amy, Communications, item 8.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the board. Our year in review newsletter will go out tomorrow. We actually held it a couple weeks to get as many stats as we could in there, and I think it's pretty impressive looking back at all the work from this year. So you'll have a chance to see that tomorrow. We provided the PowerPoint for the Water Topics Overview Committee. In terms of media relations, we had our November construction update. We announced the bridge openings for County Road 1617, 81, 32nd Avenue, and then just last night, 38th Street. And then Commissioner Grinberg was on the Swiss Re podcast, which you'll be able to listen to on the link through the board bulletin that you'll see this afternoon yet. Just a glimpse at our social media this past year. This is all organic coverage. We didn't do anything that was paid. So a little over 300,000 in terms of impressions and views on the content. The drone video continues to perform quite well. There's always interest in that. And so a lot of the 2,100 hours watched on YouTube can probably be attributed to those. Also growing our subscriber base, and those are our 3 main channels. We also have Instagram and X or Twitter, but we concentrate heavily on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. That's all I have for you today, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Amy? Commissioner Kolpak? Look good? Thank you. Item 9, lands. Justin.
Thank you, Chairman and Board. Today I want to give a quick update on the land's progress. As always, we show the map. The entire project footprint area is on the left-hand side, and then on the right side is that upstream mitigation area. Green means that we've acquired those flowage easements. Blue means we're in negotiation, and orange indicates that we're in eminent domain. Overall, from last time I presented, we increased that UMA footprint acquisition almost by 1 full %, and we have no change in that construction footprint area. We break it down a little bit more, and we have no changes once again in the environmental monitoring easements or the southern embankment, and our change has been continually moving in that upstream mitigation area. And then lastly, as we break this down by the landowner overview, we have the owner groups as well as the number of parcels, and you can see that differentiation depending on how you want to look at it, but numbers, again, real similar. Since last time I was able to present, we've now completed 3 eminent domain cases in Cass County. We've also completed site inspections of some Minnesota properties in that process. We have continued to negotiate many settlements since our first trial, and currently we have 10 pending offers with property owners at this point in time. That being said, with that success, we did successfully close on 5 different parcels and 3 owners within that UMA last month. We continue to dispose of excess lands, as noted, with more moving through that excess lands policy. And then also, just to highlight, we're closing on 21,000 acres of flowage easements acquired, with a little over 6,300 remaining. Also, yesterday we did mention to the Lands Committee that we are working on the development of the scope of work as we finalize that crop loss program with Watson Associates. And then also we are, in the few months coming, we are working on getting a detailed plan and working through that post-operation debris cleanup and restoration program for private lands in that process. And then lastly, we have sent out leases and have been finalizing those for the 2026 growing season. And as always, we present the land agent reports, and this is critical as the land agents serve in a lot of capacities, especially for that relocation and claim preparation, processing some of those reimbursements, and then also overall in mediations and those negotiations with landowners. And we appreciate all their hard efforts in those processes. With that, I'm more than happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Justin? Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 10, Finance, Mayor Dardis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The Diversion Authority Finance Committee met yesterday. Items on your consent agenda, items A, B, C, and D were presented before the Finance Committee, as well as the General Counsel update, both 6A and 6B that Mr. Shockley went through with us just a minute ago. Approval of bills for this reporting period was $4,670,738.58. Our net cash position at this time is $274,960,631. You'll note that one of the next items under the finance is the final draft, and we're seeking approval for the 2026 cash budget. And as it's noted that that number is now $1,016,893,807. That's up about $20 million from the version 3 that was presented to you at our last meeting. So, sales tax collections as of September 25th, because they lag, we are at $47,840,329. You'll note on our forecast for funding sources, we have a number of $66,750,000, and is anticipated that despite the fact that sales tax collections have been somewhat flat, we still anticipate that we're going to meet that stated goal of the $66,750,000. We'll have to see on the next report. Again, if there's any additional questions, there were a number of things that the 20 million, there was about 9 million that was moved into, added to the lands and impacted properties mitigation, and there was about 5 million that was moved into DA construction contingency. If there's any additional questions, I would have to defer to Paul Barthol with regard to the cash budget proposal for 2026.
Does anyone have any questions about finance update and the 2026 budget?
Mr. Chairman, I would move for the approval of the cash budget for 2026 at $1,016,893,807.
Mayor Dardis moves, seconded by Mayor Mahoney. Discussion? Hearing none, we'll have Dawn take the roll.
Mayor Carlson. Mayor Dardis.
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney.
Aye.
Mr. Hendrickson.
Yes.
Mr. Pepcorn.
Aye.
Mr. Ebinger.
Sorry, Don, I couldn't get my mute off.
Aye.
This is Mayor Carlson. Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Kolpak.
Aye.
Mr. Campbell.
Yes.
Mr. Capitan.
Yes.
Mr. Grimberg.
Aye.
And Mr. Steen.
Yes.
And that is everyone.
Yesterday, I received a text when we were going through the budget, and depending on how you want to define it, 365 days in a year, or 260 days, Monday through Friday, we will spend $2.8 million a day. If you want to use a 365-day analogy, or 3.8 million of Monday through Fridays next year. So when you wake up every morning, we're spending a lot of money to get this project to completion next year. It's kind of interesting way of looking at $1 billion plus.
Brandon Machinsky.
Do you want to join us? 10B has been covered, Mayor?
Excuse me?
10B has been covered as well,
Yes.
the sales tax?
Yes, the sales tax is, like I said, it's at 47 million for the year.
I had
That is
asked.
of September 25th.
Thank you. I had asked on our other business just to place this, mark your calendar. In 1858, Minnesota received statehood, and in 1889, North Dakota became a state. And if you add 1,889 days to the day we signed the P3 agreement, that lands on October 22nd, 2026, which is a diversion authority meeting. And so that might be a nice target for us as we look for this progress to complete into fall of next year. Public comment. Anyone in the room would like to provide public comment or online? Hearing none. This morning, Jason and I went through our update and had a nice discussion on where we're at with the project, recognizing this is also my last meeting as chair. Jason made a very eloquent point about how impressed he has been, which I echo, of the dedication of certainly the board for this project, but the staff and our consultants and folks that have become friends and solid teammates, making this job consistent from a leadership standpoint. And I think that's important to recognize that Jason is now coming on to end of the year with his start in February, the profound impact he's had to us, as well as this project for that steady leadership and his work with the team. And so I think that's worth noting, particularly those that are in the room today and those that might not be in the room and maybe watching as well. I think all of us as elected officials, I think you can agree that our jobs are a lot easier when we have strong leadership and great individuals leading our respective departments and teams in our cities and county. And so that I'm forever grateful of having that with Cass County leadership. Mr. Wilson is here, and sitting next to him is Mr. Redlinger, and I'm sure, Mayor, you would agree with that as well. It's been 12 years since this project really kicked in through the 2013 legislative session, and I think I've said a few times over the tenure that I've had on this board, I started fighting floods when I was a kid, when my father was the mayor of Mapleton on the Maple River. And fast forward through the years of the opportunity to serve in public service, not only in the legislature, but working alongside Mayor Mahoney and the City Commission and now County Commission. My father's passed on before I really engaged in this project, but I remember him and his words many years ago when he had to make the tough decisions when folks in the community of Mapleton were upset with the decisions to where to put dikes and who was going to flood and who wasn't. It's very similar to the early days of this project that decisions had to be made. So for me, it's very humbling to have had the experiences to be on this journey that we're all on and serving as chair this year. Jason, you made my job real easy. I thank you for that. So with that, if there's any other comments, Mayor Dardis.
It's also noteworthy to thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your leadership this past year. We've had generations of leadership on this board, and you are no exception, is doing a great job. So we thank you for your leadership.
Mayor Mahoney.
And I think, Tony, you have the reputation basically of serving in this board in a variety of different roles, because you helped us as the legislative body, you helped us as city commissioner, and then you're helping us as county commissioner. But you will get in history, let it be clearly noted that you are the chairman that has brought in the biggest budget we've ever looked at. And I'm glad you remind us how much money we're spending every day. There was one time that we never felt that we'd ever get to that dream of being able to spend that kind of money or get that kind of money. And to you goes a dubious honor, as I recall when we went to the Corps and had to go back for more money. You said, no, Tim, we'll just ask for another $300 million, no big deal, we'll just ask for it and we'll get it. And the rest of us were, well, I'm not sure that's going to happen, Tony, but you were optimistic, and we walked in there and they said yes at the first try. So you got the distinction of being one of the guys that, when I asked for $50 million, I got 5 one time, so you have the distinction. When you asked for 300, you got it. But I do think that this leadership this year has been really good for you, and the role you've served for us and led us to a different level of fiscally really looking at the project and or the different issues that we'll have coming in the future. And truly, as a chairperson, you have to really totally look at this project and see what the issues are and address them. And I echo with Bernie Dardis that your leadership has been very much appreciated, because you have looked at this project in a different light, and you have brought to light to us the challenges that we'll have going into the future. And I'm very excited when I talked to Jason today. We're on time, on budget. We're working through this thing excellently. So your leadership is greatly appreciated, and what you accomplished this year will be clearly noted. So again, thank you for that, and if we could just give them a round of applause, I appreciate it.
Well, learn from you that you never give up either. And so never give up attitude is important with this project. And Just don't spend more that's in the budget as chair next year. Any other comments? If not, we'll adjourn this meeting, and everyone have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.